Never got the email. I just went right to Zoom. I made it easier.
I don't see Lori's not here yet.
Lori is called in. She just sent me a text. So I believe if I can recognize her number, 401, she is an attendee. And we have 17 panelists. It should be staff and board.
Can we hear Lori, please?
Let's see.
Did you hear me
Yes.
now?
Yes, we can. Okay.
Okay, I needed
For
that.
those who are watching live,
The meeting is live on YouTube now.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, is everybody, Cal? Terry?
I'm here.
I'm here, Brian.
Okay, let's get started. It's 6:02. I'm calling to order the, what's today's date? The April 28th, 2020 workshop meeting for the Park District of Highland Park. Roxanne, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Bernstein,
Present.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Here.
Commissioner Flores Weisskopf. Here. Vice President Ruttenberg,
Here.
President Kaplan.
Here. Okay. First item up on the agenda is public comment. I know Brian Romes has at least two. If
Yes.
not more to read. So Brian, could you please read the public comment into the record?
I will read all of them. The first one is from Mark A. Stang at 584 Hyacinth Place, Highland Park. And it says, Dear President Kaplan, Vice President Ruttenberg, Commissioner Bernstein, Grossberg, and Weisskopf, and Executive Director Romes. I have been a Highland Park resident since April 9th, 1987, continuously at my present address. My property borders the north side of Old Elm Park. I am a sole practitioner now and with a home law office in a half-finished basement. I have a direct view of Old Elm Park from my kitchen windows. I've lived alone since December 14th, 2009, when my wife, Kathy, who lettered in tennis on her high school team, died in our family room of brain cancer. During my 33 years in Highland Park, I have consistently played on one of the two courts in Old Elm courts behind my house, or when those courts were filled, on one of the courts in Centennial, on the clay courts in Sunset Park, and during the winter on the inside courts at Deer Creek, though I prefer racquetball during the winter. I discovered for the first time on April 7th, 2020, when I went over to the Centennial tennis courts just to use the practice wall by myself, obviously a solitary activity with no social distancing considerations. The Centennial courts were all padlocked and chained, and I soon learned that all of the tennis courts in Highland Park had been chained and padlocked with warning signs posted stating that this action has been taken pursuant to the Governor Pritzker's executive orders. I first contacted my former law partner, Stephen Elrod, who directed me to Rob Bush, counsel for the Park District. I am myself a formal trial counsel for the city of Highland Park and its police department, as well as Lake Forest and Northbrook. I've also served as a special state's attorney for Lake County. I have studied each and every paragraph, line, and word of the relevant national gubernatorial executive orders, specifically Executive Order 2010-10, aka COVID-19 Executive Order number 8, and Executive Order 2020-18, aka COVID-19 Executive Order number 16. Nothing in the orders expressly or implicitly prohibits outdoor tennis playing activity. In fact, such outdoor activity clearly is permitted under 5C of COVID-19 Executive Order Number 8. Rob Bush subsequently sent me a letter written to one of his law partners, a state representative from the Illinois Department of Commerce, clearly concerning tennis courts operating as a business. The Illinois Department of Commerce has no jurisdiction whatsoever over the governmental or proprietary functions of a public body like Highland Park Park District. The Highland Park Park District's physical lockdown of its outdoor tennis courts and lockout of Highland Park residents and citizens and taxpayers is completely illegal and a violation of the constitutional rights of Highland Park citizens to use public recreational facilities, the importance and need for which is undisputed and for which the taxpayers pay more taxes than they do the city of Highland Park itself. The unconstitutionality of the closure would invalidate the lockdown and lockout, even if it were fiscally legal, and harms the physical and mental well-being of Highland Park residents, myself included. Thus, the Park District is exposed to potential litigation over the closure under Section 1983, as well as personal injury litigation for citizens physically or mentally harmed by the illegal closure. This is not to say that I am contemplating litigation myself. If I were able to attend in person, I would have been happy to answer any questions you might have about my legal views forthrightly and transparently. Tonight, I mostly want to address the human cost of the closure, which goes beyond weight gain and physical lethargy. I just walked 1.5 miles on the Green Bay Trail on Sunday, and I did not compare to hitting against an opponent 40 to 60 feet away, nor even to hitting against a practice wall. In addition to the negative impacts on me physically, I am frankly depressed about not being able to use a tennis court that lies empty whenever I look out my kitchen windows. Not clinically depressed, at least not yet, but depressed. I know that many of my tennis-loving friends and neighbors feel the same way, especially with the depressive effects of the general lockdown and the economic devastation that the lockdown is bringing in its wake. Having lost a good friend and former client in the Highlands, Mike Fisher, to suicide in August 2018, a remarkable man and citizen who devoted 12 years of his life to service on this board, I believe the board needs to consider the risks in the community's loss of the vitally important hedonic benefits of tennis in a community under psychological siege against the infinitesimal risks posed by playing tennis in the open air while using common sense precautions. So if I ever am forced to litigation, it will be only because I thought, what would Mike have done? And then did it. Thank your courtesy in considering my comments tonight. I will be in touch with Rob Bush tomorrow. And
Okay.
comment.
Thank you. And then you have something from Garrett Flynn to read.
Yes, Garrett Flynn, 365 North Deer Park Drive, East. He says the boaters, sailors, paddle boarders, and kayaks, collectively referred to as water activists that use the launch area, have zero interest in congregating on land. They want access to the water. With other lakefront parks closed, this will no doubt increase traffic at the boat launch. To control, I suggest putting a key card gate at the top of the hill to allow access to water activities with permits. Additionally, to address anyone walking down the hill, leverage staff that would have otherwise been working at other sites to stand at the top of both hills in and out to restrict foot traffic. Please help to provide access to the launch. And then he has, in addition, we are similarly focused on staying safe and healthy. North Point Marina can be used as an example of how to do this correctly. North Point will be opening as of May 1st. It is a metered manned launch that requires permit to control flow. This is also how smaller inland lakes handle it. You either launch from a metered manned site or you have property on the lake. We are not like Chicago. Chicago has a much more expansive lakefront beaches and path that can't be controlled like Park Avenue with its single point of access. The audience for boating and water activities is not assumed to be like a normal season where we have the kids, friends, and other families on the boat craft. It would be restricted to just those that I am sheltering in place with, my immediate family, so we would continue to abide by the state level guidance. Thank you for your consideration. I have another one from Dr. Francis Pesic, 146 Towers Keep. Not only am I an avid water enthusiast, I am also a healthcare provider. I would never risk putting the public's health over pleasure pursuits. I'm happy to help establish protocol at outdoor recreational facilities to ensure the safety of the public. I believe this is a critical time for the Park District of Highland Park to really invoke its mission vision statement. The citizens' physical and mental well-being depend on the availability, accessibility of outdoor pursuits at this time of uncertainty. And I have one from Sally Martin, 232 Green Bay Road. I am reaching out to encourage the Park District to open Park Avenue Beach for boating and recreation. Now more than ever, our community needs the lake access. Please let me know if there's anything I can do as a citizen to help. And then there is Sam Cashy. I don't have his address, but he's reaching out to lend my enthusiastic support to make Park Avenue Beach boat ramp and open in 2020. As a taxpayer, resident, and PDHP supporter, this is an important season for the sanity of our residents. It's unclear if camps will be open, so having safe and accessible launch is important. Please have this open Memorial Day weekend. Thank you. Those are all the comments that I received.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the Emergency Operations Planning and Response to COVID-19. I'm going to assume it's Brian Rome's to.
That's correct. So it's been roughly 6 weeks now since the Park District closed our facilities and canceled our programs to help protect our community and staff from the spread of COVID-19. This past Friday, we received the unfortunate news from Governor Pritzker's office and Illinois Department of Public Health that the number of coronavirus cases has not yet reached its peak in Illinois, and therefore the stay-at-home order will be extended through May. For the Park District and Highland Park community, that is 30 more days where our indoor facilities will be closed, our playgrounds and sport courts will be closed, and social distancing standards must be strictly adhered to. Again, as community service providers who exist to serve our community's recreational needs, we understand that these are uncomfortable and frustrating times. We continue to work closely with the City of Highland Park, following recommendations from the CDC, IDPH, the Governor's Office on protecting our community, healthcare workers, and first responders, while trying to find new and different ways to keep our patrons, customers, and community connected, engaged, and healthy. As a reminder, our mission is to enrich life in the Highland Park community. And with that, I am pleased to report that in accordance with the Governor's announcement last week, numerous restrictions have been lifted from the stay-at-home order, which begins to a transition for residents to expand their opportunity to enjoy recreation, leisure, and appreciation of the natural world. Effective this Friday, March 1st, golfers can once again experience outdoor recreation, leisure, and sport at our award-winning golf course, Sunset Valley Golf Club. Golfers will be able to participate in groups of just 2 while adhering to strict safety guidelines from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. I am pleased to report that within the first hours of accepting tee time reservations, this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were almost completely filled. And as of this morning, we have 300 golfers playing this weekend from times as early as 6 a.m. to as late as 7 p.m., with only a few slots after 6 p.m. still available. Our golf course is ready to serve our community, and our staff is prepared to follow and strictly enforce safety guidelines. As always, we will aim to deliver an extraordinary recreational experience while making sure the privilege is executed in a responsible and healthy manner. In addition to golf, the Governor revised order allows for boating for up to 2 people. Again, we know the value of our community and what it has on Lake Michigan and the enjoyment residents receive from visiting and boating on the lake. We also know that Lake Michigan is not the average size lake, and there are associated risks with allowing these amenities to be delivered during a time where the focus of our police, fire, and healthcare workers is on the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, at a time where the Park District is short-staffed due to the furloughing of part-time staff and reduction of full-time staff hours, our resources are limited. Therefore, before opening Park Avenue boating facility to the public, we must ensure that there are strict safety and security guidelines in place. To this end, the Park District has been working with the North Shore Yacht Club and the City of Highland Park to develop and ensure appropriate guidelines are in compliance with CDC recommendations for social distancing and sanitization, as well as guidelines from IDNR, EPA, and the National Marine Manufacturers Association. Make sure they're in place prior to announcing the opening. The Park District is excited for the opportunity to allow residents to once again safely visit our lakefront and enjoy recreation in a safe manner. Updates will be provided on our Parkline email, our website, and Facebook pages. Lastly, with the opening of our state parks, the Park District is also considering the opening of other park sites for safe and healthy leisure enjoyment. During these challenging times, it is often difficult to find creative ways to stay healthy and active while also appreciating the natural world during this stay-at-home order. Therefore, we are considering opening our trails at Heller Nature Center. Again, staff is working out details to ensure compliance with the governor's order and guidelines developed by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. As always, our first priority is for the health and safety of our community and the support of our healthcare workers and first responders. I do want to send a reminder that when in our parks, we consistently remind our patrons to make sure and always practice the following. Practice social distancing by keeping 6 feet of distance between yourself and others. Stay home if you are sick or feeling symptoms such as fever, coughing, trouble breathing, or other flu-like symptoms. When visiting our parks, please do so alone or with members of just your household. Please stay local and visit parks that are closest to where you live. If you arrive at a park and crowds are forming, please move to another area or return at another time or day to visit. While these updates provide some good reason to be optimistic about our community's participation in recreation and leisure, we still must be sure that all residents adhere to the strict guidelines provided by CDC, IDPH, and DCEO. Park District staff will be continuing to closely monitor our parks, beaches, and outdoor facilities. The health and safety of our community is still the highest priority. If social distancing mandates are not followed during this order, these benefits could once again be revoked to ensure we are practicing safe guidelines. We know how important parks and recreation are for our community and for each individual's social, emotional, and physical health. And we urge everyone to follow the guidelines for social distancing, sanitization, support our healthcare system, our workers, first responders, and care for each other. I do have a little bit more of an update that I want to give in regards to our COVID-19 emergency response business plan. I just want to give a brief update on our 3 essential initiatives, which were emergency planning, strategic planning, and financial planning. Starting out with the emergency planning. From this standpoint, we've developed new protocol for employee workplace safety that is in concert with recommendations from CDC and the Occupational Safe and Health Administration. This safety protocol includes standards for coming to work, social distancing while at work, and procedures on how to wear required PPE. All of our facilities are well equipped with sanitizers, disinfectant cleaners, protective shields for service counters, face masks, and we have developed a staff homecoming committee who are developing an operational plan for the reopening of each facility, ensuring that our customers and visitors and participants are safe and remain healthy. This plan includes traffic flow patterns, signage, floor markings for keeping 6-foot distance, standards for program and service delivery, cleaning and sanitation schedules and procedures, and much more. From an essential work standpoint, our golf maintenance staff will resume working full-time, and our parks maintenance staff will be slowly increasing throughout the month as the weather improves to ensure our outdoor parks and essential infrastructure continues to be maintained and safe for when we reopen to the community. Onto a strategic planning standpoint. Our recreation and facility staff is constantly looking at ways we can serve the community during the stay-at-home order, as well as building new scenarios for accommodating participants once the stay-at-home order is lifted. As many of you know, our staff has been providing free activities, classes and programs on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and on our website, keeping our community happy and healthy while at home. These free activities have had a tremendous support and active participation. Numerous activities are held daily, keeping families entertained, healthy, and engaged during this significant time of need. We've had nearly 34,000 views of our online videos since March 13th, almost 200 posts and over 7,000 people engaging with us on social media. And it's only going to get better for online during the month of May. With the stay-at-home order extended through May and the cancellation of all spring programs, staff have put virtual programming into high gear. Yesterday, our Park School program launched S'more Park School to all current participants. These new programs feature our beloved early childhood teachers, including Miss Jenny and Miss Sarah, as well as naturalists Megan Meredith and Amy Banner. They have been and will continue to provide extraordinary experiences right in families' living rooms. Registration is already underway and classes are beginning to fill. Additionally, starting tomorrow, an entire brochure of online virtual programs will be released to the community. Programs include a virtual running challenge, nature programs, tennis lessons, golf video analysis and youth classes, cooking, imagination station, magic classes, dance, theater, e-sports leagues, baseball and basketball instruction, tennis and golf instruction, private lessons, personal training, coding, sewing, fashion design, and much more. Plus, for those who can't get enough of fitness, our Recreation Center is delivering live content 2 times per day to our fitness center members. Each class begins with social engagement with members, which is a benefit that so many of us have been missing out on. And then it moves right into a full fitness routine. We are thrilled to be offering these programs and services to our community, and we are hopeful that so many of you will take advantage of it. Before moving on and closing up here, I have to give recognition to our incredible staff in every department who have worked tirelessly over the past month to serve our community in creative and unique ways that we have never done before. Their teamwork and high spirits are keeping our park district and community healthy and strong when we need it the most. Finally, summer is approaching and many families in the community are wondering, what will we be doing with our pools, summer camp, and summer sports leagues? I can assure you that your participation in these critically important recreation activities are a priority for us. As you know, in the future, it's a little less predictable right now, and we have not gotten clear direction from health organizations or the governor's office on if our programs or facilities can or should continue this summer. What I can assure you is that if and when information is released, staff will be prepared to deliver all the extraordinary services our customers have always been accustomed to. Things will undoubtedly be different, but no less enriching or memorable for our community. A few things that I'd like to talk about specifically are Hidden Creek Aqua Park. It will either have a delayed opening to mid-June, or it may possibly be closed for the entire summer. We know many children and parents look forward to summer fun at the pool, but due to the number of people who visit the pool and use the locker rooms, it will be extremely challenging to maintain social distancing while keeping surfaces clean and sanitized. We're waiting for guidance from the Illinois Department of Public Health and hope to make a decision by our next park board meeting on May 12th. Beaches and parks, again, we know how important lakefront and our parks is to our community and how important congregating is in our parks. However, we are working to develop access guidelines to control crowds, ways to keep our patrons safe this summer. It's unclear at this point if we will allow swimming at the beach, but we do intend to allow access to appreciate the beauty of Lake Michigan. And again, we hope to make final decisions in May. Summer camp, Over the summer, we all know thousands of kids experienced our extraordinary experience at summer camp. We are making alternative plans based on smaller group sizes and safety protocol to ensure the primary focus is on providing these experiences in a safe and healthy manner. With the current stay-at-home order through May, it is likely that summer camp will have a delayed start in July and could still possibly be canceled. Again, we hope to make a decision in the next coming weeks. And lastly, our sports fields and courts, our outdoor courts for all sports remain closed for the time being. We are reviewing modified plans for indoor and outdoor sports competition and again, waiting for guidance. However, while team sports in their typical fashion may not be permitted, we are looking at adaptive guidelines and exploring those to ensure both safety and enjoyment of sports competition. Before I close with financials, I just want to pause because I've said a lot of stuff, and I'm just wondering if the board has any questions or comments or discussion about any of the facility information that I mentioned or any of the programming.
Commissioner Bernstein,
I have nothing, just thank you for such a comprehensive presentation.
Commissioner Grossberg,
I'm good. Thank you.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf.
Yeah, hi. I actually did have something that I wanted to mention. In particular to, I guess it would be golf, because you mentioned that it's going to be limited to two players at a time. But at the same time, you also mentioned people going to Hell or Nature or something of that kind, where as long as they're residing together, I would just be cautious that you don't have golfers saying, oh, you know, this is my dad and this is my brother and we all live together or something like that, because I'd be concerned of how it will look to other golfers. You know, even if that is the case and it's legit that they're all observing the stay-at-home order together, I would just be very cautious about that. And I certainly wouldn't want to put our staff in any kind of compromising situation where they have to turn someone away or a scene of some sort is created. So how will we address that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Are you referring to having more than two people on the golf course, or are you referring to the two people in a twosome?
To the two teeing off together.
Okay. Ryan Oakes, I'm sure, is on the phone call, but I don't believe the order requires the two people to be from the same household.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay.
Does it?
Okay. Well, I just thought.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily think it did. I just meant if people try to get more than two people saying, well,
Yeah.
we're all from the same family, what does it matter? Just
Yeah.
preventing any awkwardness or any kind of confrontation or unpleasant situation for, you know, both our golfers and for our staff.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that, Lori. We will certainly, staff will be enforcing that. Of course, we'll have appropriate signage, and you know, we are not putting out. Normally, we have tables and couches and things in the area outside the building there, and that stuff will not be there. There will not be opportunity for people to congregate. The tee times are intentionally scheduled every 15 minutes to make sure there's proper spacing, so that there's no warming up on the putting green. People can't come early to warm up. It's really an opportunity that they decided was allowable and permitted based on these very strict guidelines that avoid people to congregate. So I know staff is taking this very seriously and certainly will make sure that these are strictly enforced.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I just don't want it to be uncomfortable for anyone involved. And my other question is, how are golfers going to pay for the round?
Sure. There's a few different options, but they do have the option to prepay. And then we also have sort of some touchless options as you check in. I know we do Apple Pay, and we also can process. We can process credit cards. We do have the screens like you see at the grocery store where there's a cover protecting you from the customer. Of course, we'll be wearing face masks and gloves and all the required PPE to make sure that there is no issue.
Okay, fantastic. I was concerned about golfers paying in the clubhouse. Just want to keep everyone safe. So I'm glad that those measures are being taken of the protection. That's all I have, President Kaplan.
Thank you. Vice President Ruttenberg?
Thank you. Getting back, staying with the golf course for a couple minutes. Will the clubhouse be open to provide restrooms?
Yes, so we will have caution tape and barricades, so you can basically only be in a direct, you have to, sort of like in the grocery stores, you have to follow the arrows and we'll only allow, one person at a time to be able to go through to the restroom. And there's a men's and a women's room, and the doors will be propped open. Obviously, you can't see inside, but they don't have to touch the door. And there's obviously appropriate soap and water in the restrooms, and they will be cleaned throughout the day. But the clubhouse area will not be open. Just basically the ability to walk through the clubhouse to get to the restroom.
But people will be able to go up to the takeout counter to get a beverage or something to eat? Is that what I
On the
heard?
outside, correct. So the restaurant will be open for takeout. So they'll be serving food through the takeout window, which
All right.
is accessible from outside.
Okay, no tables, no chairs,
Correct.
no. All right. So then the other question is, it sounds to me as if you've got several staff people just to manage the safety issues here. Plus we have a desk attendant, but we also have we have some limitations on the rounds. Can I assume that staffing will be pared down to preserve the cost savings for this?
Yeah, we have one staff member who is there to make sure that people who are checking in have tea times and basically a starter to make sure that they are checked in appropriately and have paid. And then there will be one person who will be cleaning the bathrooms and assisting with other maintenance type activities or requirements. There is very few exceptions where somebody who potentially has does not have the ability to walk very well or cannot walk, some type of a physical disability where they can use a golf cart, at which point we would need to sanitize that golf cart before and after its use. That maintenance person would help with that as well. So one maintenance person and one service person.
Okay, so then no rangers and no general help. Okay, so then the only other thing I'd like to know is I'm a little bit still concerned about the payment. There's no cash accepted, I assume.
Correct.
And
Hey, Ryan?
Hey,
okay, so there's no cash, but the person has to come inside to the pro shop to pay?
That's correct. So we've cleared staff has cleared the desk. So there's nothing for them to touch or be in contact with. It's literally there to be able to check in or process the payment in the other ways that they're allowing.
Okay. And then the only other question is if you could send me an advance copy of the online brochure that you're sending out. I think, well, to all of the board members, I think we'd like to see that as an advance copy.
Yeah, actually, we could, I could send it to you, or if there's time, we can share it during this meeting. We could share the screen if you'd like to see it, or we can just email it out after the meeting.
I would like to have it emailed. I think all the board members would like to have an email copy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have nothing further.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Nothing to add, Brian. Thank you for a comprehensive report tonight.
I do have one final section to report on. I know it was long, but it's just the financial portion of it, and it's the shortest of them all. If I can go ahead and finish that. I just wanted to report on our financials. Obviously, we're very grateful to be offering golf starting May 1st. The addition of golf, as well as the virtual programming I previously mentioned, will provide some much needed revenue for the Park District. I'm grateful to the Park Board for your support in retaining our full-time staff in the effort to plan, organize, and lead these mission-critical services to the community during the stay-at-home order, while also maintaining our essential infrastructure. As noted in previous months, we have deferred over $2.5 million in capital expenditures. We've cut roughly $600,000 in operating costs. In addition to that, we've made some difficult decisions. We've had to furlough 186 part-time staff, and we've reduced hours for full-time staff by an average of 20%. With the extension of the stay-at-home order through May 30th, the district must once again make some difficult decisions to reduce numerous full-time staff hours. While we are hopeful, creativity, innovation, and implementation of virtual programs will serve our community well, the cancellation of our regular programs and services and closure of our facilities is still causing a significant financial burden on the district. Therefore, full-time staffing hours will be reduced by an average of 25% starting May 2nd. While every position at the Park District plays an essential and valuable role during normal circumstances, the pandemic and closure of our facilities has created significant challenges. As a result, many full-time positions will have been reduced by over 50%. It's difficult to not be able to use our talented staff to their full capabilities, but while they are working, they are using every moment to think differently and find creative ways to keep our community staying engaged and be enriched. To this end, we are updating our financial projections every month, more than every month, and believe that the changes we have made will help the Park District sustain financial responsibility while maintaining distinguished operations and continuing to deliver award-winning programs, services, and facilities that will serve the recreational needs of the community. And that completes my report. I'm again happy to answer any other questions regarding the finances.
Bernstein?
I'm sorry.
I have no questions or comments.
Commissioner Grossberg?
I just wanted to kind of get a sense of the board when it came to the golf. I've expressed a mild concern about this to most people that I've talked to about it, and just trying to get in the community. I was just wondering, because actually in some cases, some of the points that Brian brought up, I'm sort of in favor of pushing us to match what our neighbors are doing, like Rosewood Beach and stuff like that. With the golf course, are we being tone deaf in any way that those rich guys are out there playing golf while the essential workers are wearing masks and walking into doing what they have to do? I just wonder what the implications of opening a golf course are, and if it's worth it to do it as soon as it's been allowed by the governor. Should we be the ones hopping on that one particular thing? So I just want to know what the board thought about that.
For a variety of reasons, I am not all that in favor of opening the golf course. I think our golfing community will skewer us, and if everybody else is opening, it's hard not to open. My biggest problem is exactly what you said. People opening up too early, sharing the virus, and then in 2 weeks we have another run. But I think if we go by the governor's guidelines and mandates, I think we have to open if we're ready to go. Anybody else?
I just think that golf has a different perception than opening up a beach or a park or Heller kind of place. So,
I think this is Cal, by the way. I think that obviously there's a huge demand for the facility and the product, evidenced by the fact that it booked up solid within 10 minutes of tea times opening. I think that bell has rung. I mean, I don't know how we go about not opening after we've taken hundreds and hundreds of reservations for the first 2 weeks that we've been taking since we've been taking tea times. So I don't know how we try to put put it back into the bag, so to speak. I think that we are rigidly following the governor's guidelines. We are not straying from them at all. In fact, I think we're probably going further in some respects. I think that again, this is above our pay grade. These decisions are being made by professionals, and the professionals at the state level have determined that this does not provide a risk. So I'm not going to supplement my personal opinion based on versus the professionals that are making the decisions at the state level. So I have no problem continuing to start offering golf on the May 1st.
It's Barney. I would like to throw my 2 cents in. One of the questions I asked was whether we're going to have a ranger, and I can appreciate that there may be a pent-up demand for this activity, but keep in mind, everybody, that there are pent-up demands for all of the activities that we're not going to be providing. But getting back to the ranger, I am, even though I typically would say don't spend the money, I think for a couple of weeks, we really should have somebody who is making sure that we are having people adhere to the rules.
Barney, let me respond to that.
Well, let me finish my sentence.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay.
Let me finish my sentence. Well, we're not the overseer of everyone's morals and health. We are providing a venue, and I know there are rules that are coming from a lot of agencies. And again, there's political pressure, I am sure, to open the golf courses. But I would like to just have somebody for a couple of weeks going out there and just say, hey, remember the distancing or something, just to reinforce it. That's my view of how to do it.
Okay. The only thing I'll say 2 things in response. Number one is, although that there's a lot of other activities that there are pent up demand for gyms, barber shops. I mean, I can use a haircut. I haven't had a haircut in 9 weeks. Believe me, there's a lot of pent up demand for a lot of things. But this is one specific thing that the governor's office, while seeking advice from healthcare professionals, has allowed. But they have not allowed us to go to barbershops. They have not allowed us to go to the gyms. They have not allowed us to go to tattoo parlors like other states have allowed. So yes. I think that we have to just rely upon the professionals at the state level. As a second thing, I mean, I'm ambivalent towards your suggestion with regard to a ranger. I'm fine with it, but the fact of the matter is when people are teeing off 15 minutes apart and there's only 2 people playing, there's not going to be a lot of people on the golf course. I think what Ryan told me is that on a usual busy Saturday, we get up to 300 golfers on the golf course. We're capped at between 90 and 100. That would be the amount of golfers that'd be teeing off before 10:30 on a regular Saturday morning. So even though it sounds like a lot, there will not be a lot of people out there. There's probably on a Saturday or Sunday walking Sunset, there's probably 40 or 50 people out there right now who have been, because I've been walking it every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday. There's probably 40 or 50 people out there just walking the course right now. So there's probably more people on the course now walking it than will be them playing golf.
Thank you, Cal, but my concern is that we are going to get twosomes that are related to other twosomes, and the people are going to congregate and get caught up. And that's all I'm saying is have somebody periodically going out there and red flagging somebody if they see they're getting too close on a sporadic basis on the heavy days.
Yeah, I mean, again, there won't be any heavy days, but I don't have a problem with it.
I agree with Barney. I also want to say that I lost my train of thought, so I'm going to stop and come back later. Sorry.
Okay.
Brian, can I make a quick comment? It's Brian
Sure.
Rounds. I just,
You've spoken enough.
I know. I really appreciate all the board's comments and feedback in regards to this. And the only other comment I want to say is that I know the staff, the ground staff, as well as the golf staff are really appreciative of this opportunity. And I do believe in my conversations, they feel that this is a way to safely be able to return to work because they're able to work in a way that where they are distanced from people and providing a service to the community. And they are grateful that this opportunity is available as employees. So I just wanted to throw that in there and say that, Ryan Oaks, the general manager, is not someone that I mentioned in the staffing assignments. And I know he'll be there every day he can be, and he'll be out on the golf course helping to check, make sure people are following protocol as well. So I just wanted to mention those people. Thank you all.
Okay, anyone else on this topic?
Yeah, can I just go? I remembered what I was going to say. I was just going to ask Commissioner Bernstein if you had been asked before the decision was made to open, would you have considered the option of not opening?
I will tell you this. I have no problem opening it. I will tell you this. From my understanding, almost all the public golf courses are opening as of May 1st. The only thing I've heard, the only caveat I heard is that the Lake County Forest Preserve, who operates 3 golf courses, are going to break out rolling the golf courses open. So they're going to open one course first, and then another course, just because of their manpower to get the courses open. So I think everybody's going to be open. I am confident that our staff will be able to maintain the social distancing necessary to keep everybody safe. And again, there's going to really be so few golfers out there, roughly about 8 golfers an hour. I mean, again, there's more people out there on a weekend right now than there will be playing golf next weekend.
Okay. Any more conversation on this topic?
Yeah, so if I could jump in real quickly.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So as far as golf goes, very interesting to hear the different sides. I do agree with Cal. Who said that? I did. I do agree with Cal that we have to trust the experts on this. And the governor has been very conservative and put safety first. So that's a consolation. That said, though, it really is, it's a contradiction in social distancing, because here these golfers are not required to play with people they're observing the stay-at-home order with. So that doesn't really make sense to me. But I like the idea of the ranger, not only at Sunset, but Sunset Valley, but at our other facilities like Heller that we're talking about. Because the thing that concerns me most is our staff, not only their health, but I've seen some ugly reactions and treatment of our staff when residents don't like the rules, and they take it out on this 18-year-old kid or this 24-year-old or whatever it is. We've seen it at Rosewood with the entitled dog people, not all, but the ones who disobeyed, the ones who would not listen or respect the rules that, we were trying to enforce. We've seen it at the gym. I've seen it myself when, we're closing the gym early because it's a holiday and it's noon and they're ticked off, and why are you closing this and let me in? I just don't think our staff should be subjected to that. So I think the more we can have someone else intervene and be more of an authority figure, the better off we'll be. Kind of training everyone, just reminding them like, hey, just because you're out doesn't mean things are back to normal. We really have to take this slow. And we got to remind people of that, because the minute there's an outbreak, I'm here to tell you, Mayor Rotering is going to, shut the whole town down, as she should. So, obviously we don't want anything to come out of usage of our facilities. But that said, I definitely think we should have, some sort of enforcement at these locations that we're going to be opening.
I agree. Anybody else?
Well, have we finished talking about the finance side of this presentation?
Oh, it's open to whatever you'd like to talk about.
Okay.
Commissioner Vice President Ruttenberg, what would you like to add?
Well, my question is basically, what is the dollar savings we're going to, you said we had a $600,000 adjustment, shall we call it? And we're saving money on doing many things. You also said we have an approximate average of 25% reduction on the staff side. Now, I think that's probably a floating number. I'm not quite sure what that meant, but what does that translate into actual dollars versus saying we have a 25% or 50% reduction in hours of work? I want to know what the dollars and cents are that we're saving the taxpayers.
Sure. As I've, so in specific response to the reduction in staff, you're asking?
Well, that's one question. The question is, we're reducing staff, that was reported, but what else are we doing from April 31st to the end of May to reduce our spending? Payroll is a big issue. I don't know if not buying light bulbs is an issue. I just don't quite have a handle on what we are doing versus what we are doing and how much we're saving and what the numbers really are. And I think that's what the community would like to hear versus we're doing, we're reducing hours by 39% or whatever the number was.
Brian, before you answer, Barney, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Set this up? Because I'm glad that Brian Rome's discussed that it's 25% reduction. But I think before he gives us a number, I'd like to know how that's going to work and what that looks like so that we know. Is it 40-hour employees are going to work 30 hours a week and get paid for 30 hours a week? Or how is that going to work and how are we going to keep the Park District staffed? Is it staggered? Is it not staggered? I was just curious how the 25% is going to work. And then you could answer the Commissioner Ruttenberg's question. Maybe it'll be in a better context.
Well, to address the 25%, we put together a full detailed plan of essential services that the Park District needs to conduct during the closure, which includes the essential maintenance on our grounds and the essential needs of our buildings. And then, of course, our essential operations regarding our finances, our communications, our human resources, our leadership of the organization. And we looked at every single position at the Park District. We have 88 full-time positions that we went through position by position. And we looked at what essential duties they could perform during the closure. Obviously, some positions are heavily reliant on working one-on-one with a customer or working behind a desk, while others are heavily focused on planning, organizing, directing, leading, implementing programs for recreation or fitness or tennis or any number of our facilities. And then other positions are focused on registration needs, whether that be processing of registrations or refunds of registrations. So we have obviously very specific job functions for each and every position. So we looked at which ones were essential, and we have put together a transitional approach to the longer that the stay-at-home order is in place, the further we will reduce the hours of the different positions. So those positions that are critical during a time of crisis for planning and keeping the organization sustainable and keeping it organized and together, versus positions that unfortunately, like I've said in the past, positions that are in normal times critical to serving the community's programs and services. Unfortunately, right now they're reduced. So some positions have been reduced 60%, and others have been reduced, 20%. So it depends on what they're able to do during the time of closure. And so their hours are reduced right now, and they're forced to use, they're basically furloughed for those particular days. So they have a reduced number of days. And that's basically how we came about the approach of the number of 25. So 25 has been an average of numbers. So, our approach obviously is to ensure that we, from this point forward, our effort is to compensate those for the time that they're able to work. And that's the approach. Now, from a part-time perspective, that was a direct furlough for all part-time staff, and that roughly amounts to $60,000 after we pay unemployment. So it's obviously, it's not an easy or uncomplicated process or decision to go through. It took an extreme amount of time and consideration to come to the decisions that we made, and it's in best effort to keep us operational while also financially responsible. And again, if to answer the specific numbers, I've mentioned the $600,000 was staff went through virtually every line item of our budget, which, obviously we have hundreds of GL codes that we go through, and we evaluated every purchase, and we determined what we could eliminate from spending based on the closure of our facilities, based on what is now considered to be more essential than other items. And so, I could go line by line with you, but there's thousands of lines of things. And we do have a full report that I know I sent out to the board that does detail many of those items and what exactly was eliminated from the budget, as well as certain contracts. And then we've also talked about our capital plan, and we've identified which capital projects that we've shared with the board that we are deferring to future years. And then we have a progressive plan. So if the stay-at-home order continues, we'll continue to look at things. The reality is we don't know what the reality is going to be. So we have a plan in place, and every 2 weeks, every week, we are reevaluating expenditures, we're reevaluating staffing levels, and reevaluating projects, and making a determination based on the best information that we have available to us. So, are there any other specific questions that I can answer? I'm happy to certainly go through
Yes.
that.
It's Barney again, Brian. Thank you for the explanation of how you got to the thought process and who would be, and I'm not asking for names, who would be reduced by what. But I guess I'm just asking a bottom line question. What you said we saved $60,000 because people, that's net of unemployment that we have to pay, et cetera. With this new cut starting May 2 in hours, what is the dollar number that translates to after you take into consideration all of the application of unemployment, you take into people perhaps applying their vacation so they collect whatever it is? How much money are we not spending on payroll, salaries, whatever the words are, which I don't know, for the period starting May 2?
Yeah. So we estimate the conceptual reduction in savings will be about $200,000 for the month of May.
Out of what number? What is the starting number? And is that 25% of our salary expense, or is it? What does that number translate to? 200,000. it's some percentage off of what we're spending. I just don't know what that is. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Sure, I don't have all those numbers in front of me either at this point. But we spend, is it right, since the April payroll, I think it was, and maybe Marilyn confirmed, I don't know if it was 300,000 per payroll or per month? Is it
It's 300,000 per payroll.
per payroll? So 600,000 per month, about.
Right.
So that's about a
It's one-
third.
It's
Yeah.
1/3, and that's after taking into account those things that we still have to pay for, such as unemployment compensation, I guess, vacation, whatever it is. So we have a net savings of $200,000.
It takes into account an estimation
I understand. I'm trying to, I understand you can't come up with a precise number because there's a lot of math involved. But so we go from 600 of dollars out the door on this payroll side to $400 out the door. So we've saved $200,000.
Yeah, and there will be staff, obviously that does not take into consideration staff who have reduced hours who will be using any paid time off.
So we don't really know what the
Okay.
saving is.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf?
Yeah, so Brian, you just started to say something, and this is what I'm unclear about paid time off. So I'm unclear. Are we reducing our staff salaries, or are we allowing people to take vacation days?
No, they,
So I guess I'm trying to figure out where is the savings that we are expecting as far as, and I appreciate that, staff's going line by line, but those things they're gimmies. Like, we're not operating this, therefore we don't need that. But I'm concerned with the salaries because this is where we, we don't want to pay unnecessarily. And if someone's not doing a job, I mean, I've said it before, I feel like, we're all being hit in some way or another. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are or, whether you own a business, you're being hit hard too. And I think as commissioners, we are stewards of taxpayers' funds and dollars. And I want to make sure that the community knows that this board is looking out and watching every penny we spend, and that our staff is hurting just like everybody else. So, I guess I want to understand, are you reducing the salaries off the top, or, are we, for lack of a better word, cheating by letting them use vacation? Because that wouldn't lend itself to the dollar amount that, we're claiming to save.
well, yeah, I certainly would hope that nobody would ever indicate that we were cheating anything. We've discussed this process with the park board extensively, and they are able to, the process that we decided to take was that they would be able to use their paid time off in this stage. So the idea is, if this continues on and the hours continue to be reduced and staff is forced to continue to use their paid time off, when it gets to that point where we do return to work, a few things will happen. Either they won't have the paid time off, and that'll be helpful to the park district because that's when we'll need them most to be able to come back to work and be able to put in the time and hours, and we'll be able to retain the staff to deliver the essential services that we know the community has clearly expressed are essential services that they'd like to receive and there's a high demand for. And so the other approach is, if we continue to be in a state of closure for an extended period of time, and if, the unfortunate something down the road, we're closed for a significant time and we have to have layoffs. Layoffs usually come with paying out paid time off, and we won't be paying out that paid time off because they will have used it. So that, obviously, we're doing our best to manage the expenses, and obviously we're doing everything that we can day in and day out to look at every way that we can operate during this really challenging time where the Park District is obviously financially struggling. And so we believe this approach provided us the best opportunity to end the year in a manner where we can be fiscally responsible and also retain our staff during this time for when we reopen.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I thank everybody for their comments. Brian, thank you very much.
Wait, I'm sorry, I was on mute. I meant to say before, I didn't want to cut you off, but I didn't realize I had the mute on. So just so I can understand it. So we may not actually be saving $200,000.
No, our bottom line is going to be different than that number. That's the reduction in payroll, which we've discussed.
Okay. And when you have those numbers, you will provide us with those numbers?
Yeah, absolutely. I can resend those.
Okay, then I suggest we move on from this topic now. Unless anybody else has any final thoughts.
My only final thought is that I would ask that Brian and his team revisit this topic, because I think we owe it to the taxpayers to have a truly significant reduction in our expenses during the month of May, which and I know we're talking about, we've cut other expenses budget by 600,000, but we're still going to have somewhere in excess of, I don't know what the number is, but it's not a real big savings that we're affecting during a time when we're doing some things. I understand that, but there just seems to be, we should take a seriously harder look and find some other ways of saving money. And again, taxpayer dollars. And if it is a different approach to how we go through the staff salary, then maybe that's what we do. I just don't know that this is necessarily the answer yet.
Well, let's get the numbers from Brian, and then we can make a more, I don't want to use this, intelligent decision on which way to go. But I think we're talking the abstract now, so let's revisit this as soon as we get the numbers, Brian.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to do that. That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. Now, we're to the short portion of tonight's performance, the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move for approval. Cal.
Wait, let me read it. Workshop, regular board. Second.
Roxanne, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bernstein,
It is Bernstein, it's aye.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Flor Swicekoff, Commissioner Flor Swicekoff,
Bueller. Okay.
Vice President Ruttenberg,
Aye.
President Kaplan.
Aye, motion carries. Unfinished business, approval of the 2020 Park District HVAC bid. Director Mitch Carr to present.
Thank you, President Kaplan. Can everyone hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear.
Okay.
Hey, real quickly, this is Lori. I'm sorry, I was muted. I had to be unmuted by Brian Rome, so here.
No, you meant to vote aye.
I second that. Anyway, I was talking, you guys just couldn't hear me, but I'm here. Thank you.
But before we go on, Mitch, is there a slide or something we're going to see about this?
No, we don't have a slide. Everything that I'm going to be talking about is in the memo, which has a lot of the detail to the bid itself and the recommendation.
And the memo is in the board package, which is in the computer. But it's not on the screen is what I'm saying.
No, it's not going to be on the screen, but I think we will be okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing that. That's all.
Okay, as part of the 2020 capital plan, the Park District has budgeted $317,000 for necessary heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, commonly known as HVAC, replacements for the facilities of Deer Creek Racquet Club, Centennial Ice Arena, West Ridge Center, and the Recreation Center of Highland Park. All the units in these facilities have either met or exceeded their useful life. The Park District took a little bit different approach this year to our HVAC bidding. There was a lot of projects, so we did bundle them all together into one bid. The thought, of course, was going to be that we were going to get better pricing through bulk purchase. And it would be a cost saving from the staff perspective, too, having to only perform one bid and manage one bid instead of several. We also added an unbudgeted alternative item, which was the replacement of the HVAC in the concession area of Hidden Creek. That is a unit that we're having issues with, and this was more or less just to have an understanding of what that cost might be. We received a total of 6 sealed bids. All total project bids came in under the budget, including the alternate for Hidden Creek Aqua Park concession unit. Out of our bidders, we did have to eliminate one Oak Brook Mechanical because they didn't complete a full bid. They left off one of the projects. Tiles and Style was actually the lowest bidder. As we do with every low bidder, we do evaluate and check references. And as we evaluated their qualifications and looked at their references, we eliminated them for consideration because they didn't support the ability to do a large commercial HVAC replacement project. We then moved to the next lowest bidder, which was MG Mechanical. Their base project bid was a total of $242,400. And the bid alternate came in at $10,400. As I mentioned, the details are in the memo. I'm certainly can answer any questions on any particular project if you have them. I will let you know that MG Mechanical did come back with good references. They have a very solid sheet of work they're doing. They have done with other districts, school districts, and park districts. We feel confident that they can do the work. We're recommending that we move forward with the base bid, which totals the $242,400. These items encompass replacing 11 total units which have met or exceeded their useful life. We would be recommending deferring that alternate item for Hidden Creek into the 2021 capital plan. This total base bid comes at a $74,600 under the capital budget that was prepared for these items. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding the project or our recommendation.
Commissioner Bernstein,
I have nothing.
Commissioner Grossberg,
I'm good.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf,
Nothing either.
Vice President Ruttenberg.
I'm good with this, eliminating that Hidden Creek item.
I am good as well. So can I get a motion to approve the 2020 district HVAC bid?
I so move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Is there any additional discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Roxanne, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bernstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf,
Hi.
Vice President Ruttenberg,
Yes.
President Kaplan.
Yes, the motion carries. Okay, Mitch, while you're up, approval of the 2020 license agreement with the North Shore Yacht Club.
Okay, so as Brian had previously talked about with regard to Park Avenue and the North Shore Yacht Club, we have had several meetings and discussions regarding the 2020 license agreement, both prior to and now after the closing of all the facilities due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As Director Rome stated, we are in the process of working with the North Shore Yacht Club, as well as the City of Highland Park, to determine a final plan on accessing the facility site, as well as the storage of the equipment for the yacht club operations, as well as the non-yacht club members who need access to storage of their small craft vessels that are located at the facility. This license agreement allows for the yacht club to exclusively use the Park District of Highland Park property during identified times as outlined in the agreement, as well as the ability to store yacht club equipment on the property for purposes of delivering the North Shore Yacht Club programming to the boating community. Substantial changes in the 2020 agreement when compared to the 2019 agreement are as followed, and these are a little bit of a combination of both. Some of these are things that we had already agreed to prior to the closures, and then these also include some updates as we're going through the process of trying to figure out how to best operate the facility. So the agreement term will be from May 1, 2020 through December 31, 2020. And doing this allows us to get the contract terms on Park District fiscal year calendars. Traditionally, they have been April 1 through March 31. So this allows us to get on the district fiscal calendar. The license fee was originally set at $6,500 when the term of the agreement was going to be April 1 through December 31st. We have since adjusted that with the new agreement term being May 1 through December 31st. That license fee is being reduced to $5,600. Additional prorations will be applied in a similar way, and that would be based on our ability and when we're able to open the facility. So if the facility opens later than May 1, we will apply a similar prorations in a similar manner for the month of May. The Park District has agreed to provide its standard season opening and season closing duties for the building and beach, as well as provide routine maintenance of the building and weekly grooming of the beach throughout the boating season. However, emergency maintenance requests that may be needed to the sand ramp or dock that specifically support a North Shore Yacht Club event that are outside the district's scheduled maintenance will be billed back to the North Shore Yacht Club at an additional fee. An additional schedule is being added to the agreement, which is going to provide some guidelines related to social distancing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Those guidelines were developed by the North Shore Yacht Club. They have been sent to us for review. We are looking at those, and right now they look like they're very well put together standards. We still want to work with them to kind of incorporate that into the agreement, but there will be a new schedule that will address that as part of this agreement. In keeping with the current stay-at-home order, the yacht club building and deck would remain closed for the duration of the stay-at-home order and until it is lifted. We will provide access to the exterior bathrooms and to storage garages, but social distancing guidelines would have to be followed with that as well. Until the entire facility reopens, the Park District would designate hours for operation and will close the gate in accordance with those hours. The gates will remain closed on days in which there are advisories and warnings in place. So that would be, again, until the facility can reopen. That's the practice that we would have. So at this time, staff is recommending the board authorize Executive Director Romes to enter into a license agreement with the North Shore Yacht Club for the 2020 year.
Okay, any questions? Commissioner Bernstein,
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Nope, I understand it.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf,
I'm good, thank you.
Vice President Ruttenberg.
Thank you. Mitch, you pointed out that there are provisions for the guidelines that this isn't starting until May, and that the clubhouse is not going to be made available, nor the deck. Am I correct that that's not in the version that was provided to us?
That specific operational adjustment is not in the guidelines that the North Shore Yacht Club has provided us. We have let the North Shore Yacht Club know that the building will not be able to be operated until the stay-at-home order is lifted, and we can add that to the schedule.
Yeah, as well. See, I'm in favor of having an arrangement with the yacht club for the sailing, but I think it's also in connection with the overall of Park Avenue. But at this point, I would like to see the revised agreement before I could vote on it.
Can you repeat that, please? I apologize.
That's all right. I understand the changes that were going to have to be made, and I'd like to see the revised agreement before I could vote on it.
Okay. Does anyone have an objection to that? Commissioner Bernstein?
How does that impact the North Shore Yacht Club's use of Park Avenue? They're putting it off.
Well, right now, without an agreement, they wouldn't be able to start to utilize any of the space. As of right now, we don't have the finalized plan. We're obviously actively working on that. So, as of today, it doesn't impact, but until we have a license agreement with them, of course, they can't access the site and utilize the site in the way that they have, that it's set up in the license agreement. I know that the yacht club also has expressed some concerns because they have to get insurance, and they need an agreement a signed agreement to be able to secure their insurance. I know that is one thing that they've expressed concerns on.
All right. Well, I have no problem moving forward with the agreement, with the caveat that we'll direct staff to revise the agreement consistent with what their presentation was tonight. I don't see there's any reason to delay it.
Commissioner Grossberg?
I mean, if we could do as Cal says, I feel comfortable doing that.
Commissioner Flores Weisskopf?
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Ruttenberg's point. I want to make sure that in the midst of all this, that we're all comfortable doing what we're doing, and I want to make sure everyone's on board. So, Barney, would Cal's suggestion put you at ease?
We can approve it subject to, we can approve the concept, but I wouldn't want to approve the agreement until I've had a chance to review it and understand exactly the implications. This COVID-19 and issues, social distancing, all of this has to be implemented into an agreement. And having been part of the yacht club, which they'll probably always deny, there ain't no social distancing. I understand how this works, and try as they might, I can see issues, but I would like to see what is written before I could vote on it. My vote at this point would be to vote no. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, Mitch?
Yes.
With all the rules in place right now, when is the earliest that the yacht club would have access to the facility?
So based off of the governor's guidance would be May 1, but we know that we won't have the facility ready by May 1. There's a lot of work that we still need to get done down there. And I know today staff was trying to formulate a schedule, and I think we feel confident that we could get everything ready by May the 15th.
And we have a meeting between now and May 15th, don't we?
Well, I think now that we have this call in, could we have a special meeting next Monday night for this being the issue? Would that give everybody time to put this together.
The other alternative is if we can create language that is agreeable to Commissioner Ruttenberg and Commissioner Kaplan, we can observe the right to approve the agreement through the executive powers of yourself, Brian, and me, or we could wait till May 12th, or we could do a special meeting. Those are the three options.
Well, I'd like not to wait 2 weeks to do this.
I think we could get all the information that would be needed in the agreement, including the schedule that the yacht club has developed and what we would need to add to that by the end of the week. So we definitely could have that ready.
Well, then let's do this. Let's shoot for next Monday where we can do it one of two ways. Either Brian and I can approve it if Commissioner Ruttenberg goes through it and has no issues, or we can have a special meeting next Monday night for all of 5 minutes via computer again to approve it. Does that work for everybody?
This is Cal. I'm fine with that.
Same.
Certainly from me.
Lori?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay, then let's table, we'll do that. We will have an answer finalized to the yacht club no later than next Monday. Because they do have to take this and get insurance and have things to do with it. I don't want to put them behind the 8 ball any more than we are. Fair enough?
It's good for me, and I definitely think we want to do this. So
Okay.
just see the agreement.
Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the 2020 Park Avenue dredging bid. Rollins
Yeah.
and Smith to succinctly present.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine, Mike.
Make sure I'm unmuted. Okay, I think I can make this pretty quick. Jeff has presented on this the past few meetings, and each meeting we have decided to delay the approval of the Park Avenue dredging based on not having confidence on whether or not we will be able to allow for power boating in the 2020 season due to numerous reasons. Obviously, the most obvious is due to the COVID-19 pandemic and all the issues that are surrounding that. So we are still in conversation with the City of Highland Park, and we are staff is still in conversation on how to best do this. And so we are recommending again that we defer this. We believe we have time and we can defer this to the next workshop. And if we have more confidence that we're ready to make a decision based on where we're at in 2 weeks, then we can make a decision then.
Okay.
Unless any board members have any questions or comments or feel differently, happy to answer or any questions.
All
I
right.
think that's a good move.
Okay, then let's move on. Treasurer's report. Director Peters to present, please.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So just a couple things we want to touch upon. Our combined general corporate and recreation funds are showing a favorable variance at the end of March to the tune of about $950,000. That is largely due to timing differences of accrued interest. Our P card rebate came in early. We do have several sponsorships for back covers of brochures and Fourth Fest and things like that that all came in earlier than anticipated. We also have a lag in salaries, benefits, and insurance just due to the way things had played out at the beginning of the calendar year. Our other huge favorable variance is in the capital projects fund to the tune of over $2 million. And that is related to our bond issuance, bringing in more money than we originally expected. We also had excess capital project funds sitting last year that rolled over to this year that we did not know would be available when we had put the budget together. We do have roughly $14 million of capital funds being invested that is pulling in more earnings than had been anticipated. We have also delayed or eliminated projects due to COVID-19. And then finally, our NSSRA payments had been budgeted throughout the year, but we had renegotiated these, and the payments are really going to come in mostly during the second half of the year. And so that would explain why we're looking so positive in the capital projects fund. Does anyone have any questions?
Commissioner Bernstein. Commissioner Grossberg.
I'm good.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf.
No question.
Vice President Ruttenberg.
Question about NSSRA.
Yes.
Do we know what their timetable and schedule is and what their funding requirements will be given this awkward period that we're in?
You know, I have not heard of any change in what we had. Brian and I had met with them, I think back in January, and we renegotiated our payment terms with them because they were not matching up with the anticipated tax revenue. And I still think we are looking okay to be able to make those payments. But Brian, I don't know if you've heard anything else.
Are you referring to the capital fund payment or just to our annual contribution payment?
You know,
Capital.
actually,
No, go ahead.
actually, everything. If you recall, we pretty much pushed everything back to the July timeframe just because, you know, our tax revenues don't normally start coming in until May. And so if you recall, we didn't even transfer, we were not able to transfer enough at the end of last year from NSSRA. So we wanted to make sure that that fund was well funded before we started making our payments over to them.
Yeah, so Barney, I'm not clear on what your question is, but I can give you two tidbits of information and then see if you have additional questions. But the capital contribution that we are scheduled to make this year, as Marilyn just indicated, we've pushed back to, I believe, July or August. And their project for that renovating their new building, they are waiting, as many other districts are, to see if they are a recipient of the park grant. So that project has been delayed, in which case those payments that they are required to have in order to start the project are delayed. From an operational standpoint, they are going through similar conversations and as other districts are, and they have furloughed some part-time staff as well. In doing so, it may reduce our contribution, which we do not know. We won't realize until the end of the year. It's not an immediate type of reduction. So that's where they stand operationally and with the capital project.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Next is new business, approval of the Sunset Valley Golf Club Restaurant Bar Lease Agreement. Ryan Oakes to present.
Good evening, everyone. In 2018, the district entered into a restaurant bar license agreement with Open Kitchens for restaurant services at Sunset Valley Golf Club. The district's agreement with Open Kitchens included a lease payment of $28,750 for the initial term of August 2018 through December 2019, and a one-year extension in 2020 for $31,000. Open Kitchens has significant experience in golf course food and beverage operations, including currently managing operations for Palatine Hills Golf Course, Mount Prospect Golf Course, and will be managing the new restaurant for Sportsman's Country Club in Northbrook. The patrons of Sunset Valley are pleased with the quality of food and customer service provided by the Open Kitchen staff. Park District staff has negotiated with Open Kitchens to extend the current lease agreement for 5 additional years. In exchange for a long-term lease agreement, Open Kitchens has agreed to invest in a capital improvement project to the kitchen, which includes a larger range hood and new oven. These improvements would allow kitchen staff to operate more efficiently, which in turn will provide improved customer service to our customers. All necessary improvements to the kitchen will be paid by Open Kitchens under this new agreement. However, equipment upgrades will remain property of the Park District. The lease payment will continue to be $31,000 per calendar year, beginning on January 1st, 2021, and concluding on December 31st, 2025. So tonight, staff recommends approval from the Park Board of Commissioners, authorization for the Executive Director to enter into an agreement with Open Kitchens beginning on January 1, 2021, and concluding on December 31st, 2025, with an annual lease amount of $31,000 plus improvements. Any questions?
Commissioner Bernstein.
Yes. Is there going to be provisions in this agreement that provides that obviously lien waivers and we'll know who the contractor is on site and that we have a say in the equipment that is the type of equipment that is purchased?
Yeah, the Park District will approve the plans.
Okay, so as long as the Park District is approving the plans, approving the equipment, because it will become Park District property. So I want them to, I don't want some schlock equipment put in it. So we get to improve the equipment and approve the contractor to make sure that the contractor will do the job and do it in a timely fashion, and lien waivers are provided. I have no problem.
Commissioner Grossberg.
Sounds good to me.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf.
Yes, I'm okay with it.
Vice President Ruttenberg.
Just to be clear, Ryan, we're approving the equipment, not just the plans for the installation, aren't we? I mean, are we actually approving the items that are buying? What kind of oven it is, what kind of range hood, the size, and the color? Or are we just approving the plans for the installation?
The latter.
Yes, the latter.
Well, that goes contrary to what Cal was asking.
Yeah,
Staff would be, yeah.
I want to make sure that we're also approving the equipment that's going in there, because I want to make sure it's high quality equipment.
You want the board to approve the equipment?
No, I want staff to do it.
Oh, yeah, staff is approving it, but
That's not
Barney's
what
question.
is different question. My question is, and I think Cal's also is, are you guys going to approve when they say we are buying a Thermador oven of 5 cubic, blah, 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 and say, no, that's the cheap end, we don't want that, get a better one?
Yes, and they've already shared the model and everything with us. Yes,
All right, and it's commercial grade.
yes.
Yes.
I think, Cal, I think that was your question, wasn't it?
Yeah, thanks for being more concise and clear than I could ever be. Thank you.
God.
I did this for 40 years. It's my business. Okay, that was my question.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the Sunset Valley Golf Club Restaurant Bar lease agreement?
So move.
Can I
Second.
get a second?
Second.
Any more additional discussion on this topic?
Yeah, just one other point while we're talking about the restaurant. They had some staffing issues well, I guess it doesn't matter this year, but for next year when they're fully open, or maybe the end of this year, there were staffing questions that they didn't have enough people waiting on the customers.
I never felt that way in all my times there, but I don't know.
You know, Barney, one of the issues was slower service at times, and the addition of the larger hood and larger range and larger oven is intended to solve that issue, because they would be able to deliver a higher quantity of food in a faster period of time. So that was one of the challenges that we did have with the vendor, but that challenge really had to do with the capabilities of the kitchen, which is why they want to invest in the kitchen, and as part of the agreement to extend our lease agreement. So hopefully that should be significantly improved. And they've been very great to work with and responsive to our feedback.
Okay, that's awesome.
The only thing that I would add is that they need to add a club sandwich to the menu because every golf club needs to have a club sandwich. That's all I have to say.
Ah, perfect.
Not kosher.
Okay.
All right, I'm skipping the rest. Roxanne, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bernstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Flor Swicekoff,
Aye.
Vice President Ruttenberg,
Yes.
President Kaplan.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, Parks Foundation update. Commissioner Grossberg.
Yes, I was able to attend the last Parks Foundation meeting via Zoom. And a lot of it, again, was based on governance. They're going to have a meeting in May where they solidify all the moves they've made, which includes getting assistant to each of the different positions so that there could be sort of a learning curve. I think that they're still looking for an assistant treasurer. I did just receive they're trying to step up their social media game. So I did get I think it was Instagram message from them that they're pushing out today, trying to get people to don't forget about us sort of thing. You know, there's a lot of fundraisers going on right now, and there's a lot, we're going to have a big hole in our budget because the main fundraiser we have adopted the last few years is the Champions Banquet, and it's postponed. I mean, we're going to try to get something going in October, but so, the park board, the park district has a big stake in whether the foundation can help out with things like Smile. So anyways, we're trying to push out the message that, don't forget that the recreation and equalizing that for all members of our community is still important. So a lot of the fundraisers that are going on around town right now, understandably, are about essential workers and first responders. And so hopefully as that starts to ease up over the next few months, knock on wood, people will remember that how important recreation is and how important it is that all of our citizens get the same opportunity to participate in our camps and to use our facilities. So those were the main issues that we're grappling with. Brian Romes, were you on that call?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there.
Yes, indeed.
I took some notes, but I didn't get minutes. So was there any other big item that I'm missing?
That was the majority of all the governance. So that, I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, we have some really, really dynamic new people on that board that really know what they're doing, and it's really refreshing that we're not trying to just sort of make it up. It's not really make it up, but we didn't have people that really lived the experiences we need to make this successful, and we've added some new people here that really know what they're doing. So it's pretty great. Now we just need to make some money and to raise some money so that we can support the park district in what we're looking for. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's next? Director's report. Mr. Romes, do you have any more to add?
I do not. I gave a pretty comprehensive report in the beginning, so just looking forward. I will send out those virtual program brochure to all the board members, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. So thank you.
Hey, I have a question for Brian Romes, if I may.
Yeah.
What was the response, and how do we communicate when we finally open discount that we're going to give to the we'll call them the first responders and the medical people?
Yeah, we're still working out those details. Obviously, they're they're obviously very busy right now. So it's not anything that we've wanted to get into details with them, right now. So So really, until things kind of get back open, there's nothing in to really report on that other than, we've committed to do that.
It's too bad that we may or may not open the aqua park, but if we do open the aqua park, I would like to suggest that we have an essential workers day.
Yeah, great. Sure.
Well,
Expand,
that's a fantastic idea.
expand it beyond the doctors, the firefighters, but there's a lot of people in this community who we wouldn't be surviving without. So
Certainly appreciate them, for sure.
Okay. Any additional board comments?
Yeah, I do have a question. I
It's
believe,
not a comment.
okay.
Okay.
Should I say it in comment form instead of question form?
yeah, don't put a question mark at the end.
Okay, I won't let my voice rise at the very end.
Okay, you have to start it with
Okay. What is the truth about our meetings in May where we used to rotate officers?
Yep, they're still planned. We'll have our annual meeting in May.
Which is that which meeting is that, or
The second meeting.
second meeting? Okay. Okay, I look forward to coming to a May meeting when usually I am not able to attend because of my busiest time, which is now not busy anymore.
I assume we're going to do the meeting virtually too.
I
Well-
would assume so.
Yes,
Yes.
I won't have a concert or 5 that night.
Well, the point is, Terry, you can't even get to a meeting, even though you have the time now.
Yes, well, yes. All right.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll be really quick. Before the meeting started, I talked to Chris Malazewski, and I'm really looking forward, and I'm confident that our staff, once summer comes around, and we were talking about the bent up demand and people wanting to get outside. I was in the neighborhood today, and people are outside walking, and this was a nice day. Is that we're gonna have to be thinking out of the box. A lot of people are going to be looking to the Park District, hopefully to provide programming and other things for demographics that are not usually around the summer. For example, if summer camps overnight camps don't go forward. So Chris and I talked earlier, and I'm confident that our staff is going to come up with a lot of different things on the fly, so to speak, and really show how flexible and how imaginative they can be, because I could see a lot of different things that are, it's not going to be simply just put things in a brochure and throw it out there and people will register. We're going to have to be doing things that and experimenting, and I think that our staff is well suited, and we have the talent in place, so to speak, to make all that happen. So I encourage the staff to think out of the box and really try to address. And I'm a Cub fan. I'm an optimist. I'm half full. And I'm confident that hopefully sometime this summer that we'll be able to sometime resume something. What that looks like, I don't know, but whatever it is, the Park District will have a big role in that. So I look forward to seeing that.
House League Baseball, we could bring it back.
Could be starting July 4th. We could be having House League Baseball July and August, which hasn't happened in Highland Park in probably 40 years. It could happen this summer.
Okay. On that note, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second,
Second.
Roxanne?
Commissioner Bernstein? Sorry, Commissioner Bernstein?
He says yes.
He wants to stay on.
Maybe he left already.
Right, Commissioner Grossberg?
I'm in, all in for out.
Commissioner Flor Swicekoff?
Here. Aye.
Vice President Ruttenberg?
Aye.
President Kaplan?
Aye. Motion adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.